So today we'd like to talk about meditation and how we walk during the rest of our day. You know, how many of you guys have had a meditation where it's fantastic, you feel like you've touched a little bit of source, you bring back a little bit of wholeness with you, you feel wonderful after the meditation is over, and then just in a very short matter of time, you feel like you're right back where you were before you even did the meditation. That's what we'd like to talk about today. How can we walk as it during our regular day?
Well, and going off of that, I know that for me, I like to meditate first thing in the morning because it kind of sets the tone for my day. And yeah, you can kind of lose it throughout the day. But I think that that's where some people fail. And well, I'm not really feeling a change. Yeah, I feel great in my meditation, but I don't feel like anything's changing in my life. And I don't feel any happier in my life. I don't feel more fulfilled in my life. And so it's kind of, you need to carry that same feeling with you throughout the day, and you need to become aware of your thoughts and your actions throughout the day. So you feel great and everything, and then you get to driving on the road and you're stressed out at the cars on the road, and then you get to work and you're like pissed off at the person in the office. Why are you pissed off? Why are you mad? You know, take a moment to just kind of breathe, look in your heart, whatever it takes. Just, I think it's more of just like becoming aware of your thoughts and your actions throughout the day.
That's what meditation practice really is. It's two things. One, it's a practice. It's not a once and done. It's not a do it 10 times and then you're done. It really is a way of life. It's a practice.
Yeah.
And then the other thing meditation does for us is it brings us inside, internally, in our subconscious. It helps us become very aware of who we are.
Know thyself, that's what it means.
And to know thyself.
Yeah.
And then once you become aware, you can be able to make changes. Either decide that you like what you're aware of, or if you become aware of something you don't like, then you can make those changes. And I think as one continues meditation practice, you'll start to become more and more aware when you're falling out, right?
Yeah.
When you're falling out
from
of
grace.
falling from grace is one way to say it, but I like to think about it falling away or falling out of the state of being that you want to stay in.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, people say, well, what is grace? I mean, that's kind of a loose term, but really when you meditate, you're moving more into a state of being, a state of presence that you like. And then once you leave the meditation place, you're going about your daily life, you're going to feel yourself ebb away from that state of being. And that's what I think all of us are really trying to achieve, is keeping that present mind, the one that's in a state of Zen, of calmness, of oneness, keeping that throughout the day without being in a closed eye meditation.
Well, let's say, for example, that you don't have time to meditate in the morning. I know one of my friends, she's like, I have to get up at 5, and it's just too hard to get up really early in order to do meditation and go throughout my day. And then they may meditate in the evening, or maybe take a quick break in the afternoon, do a little 15-minute meditation, something like that. And they're like, well, you could have the mindset, okay, well, I'm just going to be all stressed out until I get to that meditation. But that's not it. I think the second you wake up in the morning, you need to set an intention. You need to be grateful for the new day. Even just set an intention. Okay, I'm going to have a good day. Just something as simple as saying, I'm going to have a good day, can help you move forward in your day. But if you're like, oh, it's another day, I've got to go face traffic, I go face work, I hate my job, I hate my life. Well, that's going to set your intention for the whole day. And you can do the same thing in your meditation. Yeah, you can meditate and you may or may not come out feeling great. And sometimes when I don't come out feeling great from a meditation, I go ahead and I do another one. And I know some of you don't have time to do that, but if you could just kind of
but that's a priority right there.
It is a priority.
You know, if you have more time to brush your teeth, curl your hair, put your makeup on, go to the restroom, take a 20-minute shower, do your exercise routine, whatever, and all those things are fine and wonderful, but you just haven't prioritized the meditation then. If you say, I don't have time for that, that's really your choice.
Yeah.
You made that less of a priority. And that was something I was thinking of while you were talking. It's like once you bite wholeness, once you taste what you can get when you really meditate, and touch a little bit of source.
Yeah.
Just a little bit. It doesn't have to be that
direct
white light, angel singing, type of a moment, but just you touch a little source and you say, wow, I felt different after that. Once you taste that, you're going to want a little more of that.
Yeah, and you're not going to get that every day.
No.
You know, you might be like, man, I had such a great meditation yesterday, or 2 weeks ago I had a great one. Why can't I get that anymore? And that's not what it's about. If that's what you're making it about, is like, well, I've got to feel this wonderful feeling every time I meditate, then I think you're losing the point. And like we said at the beginning, know thyself. Meditation is about learning about yourself and learning I don't know what makes you tick, and just going within and finding love within, finding happiness within. And once you learn to start doing that more in your meditation, then you need to bring that forth in the rest of your life. And
Something I'm guilty of admitting to the world right now is not really having a clear plan. And I really think that that's important. Not that you need to know everything.
No.
You know, what is I've oftentimes kind of walked around in more of a mopey state. Yes, me. Yeah, I'm human too. And I'm like, man, I wish I could figure out, I wish the universe would tell me what my highest self is looking like. And I really, I've heard of people that have had meditations and they see their future self. And it's like this big, wonderful moment for them. It's like, well, I'd love to have that. But, I've just kind of gotten to a place where I'm just okay. I've had wonderful moments. I reflect back on those wonderful moments, even when meditation may seem a little bit hard to do for me, or, whatever the case may be. I just reflect back on those awesome moments and it helps propel me forward. But I do think it's important to have some game plan, right? Some idea. It's like, okay, I really want to improve in this area. Because the whole theme of this video is walking as it. Well, what is it to you?
Yeah.
You got to know what it is. Do I want to be the cool guy? Do I want to be the cool Kyle that's calm and collected, who doesn't blow up in traffic? Okay, I'm developing a plan for what I want to get into when I meditate.
Well, I want to go, and you say talk about a plan. And I know for me, I kind of got frustrated thinking, I don't know what my plan is. I don't know what I want in my future. I don't know, or why am I meditating? And it's not necessarily a plan, but think about it like those of you that work out. Why do you work out? Do you feel good when you work out? Do you want to have a nice body? Why do you eat healthy? You realize when you eat really crappy, you kind of feel crappy, so you want to eat healthy. And it's not like one of those New Year's resolution kind of things where like, okay, I got to start meditating, and you're kind of like working out sometimes, like, oh, I got to go to the gym. I hate it. Don't make it about that. If you're making it about, oh, it's time to go meditate, I got to go, change my life. You need to reflect on really why you're doing it. And if you're just doing it because oh, well, I'm supposed to do it, or I should be doing it, then it kind of defeats the purpose. And it does make it harder to walk as it for the rest of the day because you're not really knowing your intention. Make it as simple as, I want to be a happier person. That's very simple. I want to be a happier person. I think that's kind of the goal that all of us have in our lives. We don't like being unhappy. So what's the opposite of that? Happiness. So just set an intention. I want to be happy. So make your whole day happy.
Happiness is a choice, and that's something I'm working through right now, is that awareness that I am unhappy a lot. I choose to think unhappy thoughts, and I'm like, okay, well, I had a realization just a couple of weeks ago that happiness really is a choice. Something that's kind of appealing to me is just that we know that meditation practice reorganizes the brain. That is a physiological effect of meditation. Whether you have mystical experiences or not, when you meditate, you are reorganizing your neural connections in the brain. You're clipping synaptic connections, and you're remaking new synaptic connections, which ultimately is improving your overall neurological health, which then relates into the body. And also, be compassionate. I was thinking kind of in a nutshell format. It's like, okay, walking as it, what does it mean? We know, as somewhat experienced meditators, we know that you're going to have ups and downs. We know that there are going to be times where you are going to do it just to do it because you should. And when that happens, that's really your body fighting against yourself, your former self fighting against your future self. And just know that is part of the process. Compassion keeps coming up in my mind. Be compassionate with yourself. Love yourself. Know that your former self has been the thing that has kept you alive and brought you to this present moment. Love it. Don't hate on it. Don't get mad at it. Don't kick yourself in the butt. Be compassionate. Love is the true answer. Love is everything. Love is the glue that binds the universe together. So why not love yourself? And
others.
something you've been telling me, and I've been trying to refuse hearing it, but it keeps coming, and I keep being told I need to listen, is you really cannot love anything or anyone else until you love yourself first.
Yeah. And I know that's hard. That's really hard.
And in meditation practice, it's a really good exercise in loving yourself, because you're going to have these ups and these downs. And I think that's also important to note when you're walking as it, is not to have the false expectation, like I'm working through, that everything is going to be rosy, everything is going to be perfect. Yeah, that's not going to be the case. And something recently somebody said, which resonated with me, is we do not grow unless we're challenged. And I'm like, wow, oh, okay. So now I'm more open, careful to say this to the universe, but I'm more open to welcoming challenges, because it's like, oh, well, I do want to grow.
Yeah.
I do want to improve. I do want to be a better person. And so just what we're doing right now, having a conversation between us and recording it and sharing it with our viewers, that's walking as it, right?
That's true. That's true. And I completely forgot what I was going to say.
It's okay. See?
You were saying so many
yourself.
things, and I was like, okay, I want to say that, I want to say that, I want to say that, but I
Love
forgot.
yourself in it.
Yeah,
okay.
well, and then going back to compassion, just being compassionate for others, because I think that if some of us struggle to love ourselves, we're like, well, I can't love myself because I hate this about me, I hate that about me, and this happened to me. So those are things you're going to be battling with in your meditation. But during your day, things are going to come up and people are going to come at you and basically test those things. And you could say that's the universe, or you could just always blame it on that person or something. But you can, how do you handle that? And that goes back to compassion. Because if you have compassion and understanding that that person is struggling just like you. They went through things in their lives and they are not knowing how to express their emotions, and they had this thing happen to them, and so they don't know how to handle this, and they want this attention and that, whatever. And even the person in traffic that cuts you off, why are they that way? I mean, I'm sure you've been in those instances where you're like, you just had a really bad day and you're like, I'm late for my appointment, and you're in traffic. So you're one of those people, and that person that cuts you off is one of those people too. Or they're like all up in their head and they're not thinking straight, they're tired. That's where you can just have compassion and understanding for these people are not out to get you. They're just living their lives and they're struggling, and you happen to cross paths or they happen to vent their energy out onto you. Don't take it personal. Just be like, okay, then you can just be like, I love you. I mean, even though you may hate them inside, like, I hate that person, they're always bugging me. You just have compassion, understanding. And those things can make your day so much less stressful instead of living in survival. Like, okay, when's that person going to yell at me? Or when's that person, I can't stand that person. Or, when's my boss going to come in? Or, I hate this traffic. Look at traffic as a time to listen to some calming music and reflect on that. You try to look at the good in every situation that comes, and things can be less stressful. That's another way to kind of walk as it.
So what I was hearing as you were talking is every soul that we encounter is on a spiritual journey.
Yeah.
There's no question.
Yeah.
They are on a spiritual journey.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think we tend to get into our 3D minds, our old former selves, and we tend to judge. And as part of that judging, we may say, oh, that person's not very spiritual at all. Or we may say, that person is asleep.
Yeah.
But I think the wiser quantum-minded self, the future self that's standing in front of you, would say that every soul is on a journey. And they're just not aware of the journey they're on.
They're not aware. I mean, I'm sure a lot of you are at that point where you're like, but now I get it.
There's a subtle nuance here. Mm-hmm. They're on the journey. They're just not aware that they're on the journey.
Yeah.
Yet, right?
Well, even people that are aware they're on the journey still can fall back, and
right.
I mean, it's a constant thing. Nobody's going to be perfect ever. Nothing in your life is ever going to be perfect.
But that was a lead up to the next thing I want to share about walking as it. And this is kind of a teaser, if you will. I want to do a video with you on relationships, significant others, and doing the work, not doing the work, et cetera, and all those things. Because we've had people come up and talk to us at retreats and stuff. But in a nutshell, kind of a teaser to that, walking as it. Okay, so let's take a situation where one partner in a relationship is trying to walk as it, and the other apparently is not.
Yeah.
But we just said that every soul is on a spiritual journey. They just may not be aware of it.
Yeah.
And I think the person who's trying to walk as it, if they can truly embody, believe, and love into that statement, that that person is asleep, but they're still on a journey, then we can love them for where they are. I know, somewhat full disclosure here, just us, sometimes I fall asleep to the fact that you're on your own spiritual journey. You know, when a marriage happens, there's things, there's programs that come into play, subconscious programming, things that we saw our parents do, et cetera, roles that get played out. And sometimes I lose track of your true independent spiritual self that's on your own journey. And in reality, we are just two independent souls that have coalesced timelines, and we're sharing a timeline, but we're still on separate journeys. And I need to remember that, because sometimes I get frustrated, you know, weary, mad, upset, whatever, because of expectations. There comes that word again. Dang those expectations. Because that really, and I was just telling Cheryl that I want to do a video on expectations because it's so real to me right now. I've taken a little bit of a sabbatical from the videos, and I apologize for that, but I've been really working on myself. The universe has basically brought a lot of things to my attention, and I've been willing and trying to work through those. Some of them have been very hard. Expectations is one of those realizations that's come up, and I'm trying to understand how to truly live a life. Again, this goes back to walking as it. For me, is walking as a person who has zero expectations.
Well, and this can go to, you're talking about us being on our individual journeys, and we're just two souls kind of sharing a life together in a way. Your children, same thing. They are on their own individual journey. And so sometimes you feel frustrated with them that they are not understanding, you know, and you're not understanding, why can't they be this way? Why can't they act that way? Why is one kid really good and why does one always get in trouble? And you kind of compare and you're like, I'm raising them the same way. Well, they're their own individual souls and they're on their own individual journey. You're there just to help guide them and to help them and show them the way. But you know, they really kind of have to do it themselves too. You're there to help them, but you can't just completely turn them into the person you want them to be. And you can't do that with anybody, you know? I mean, I think that's why we get frustrated in our life, is because we're like, why is that person that way? Why is that person that way? Why can't that work out this way? And that's the expectation thing again. And I think when we lose all those expectations and we have love and we have compassion, it makes it that much easier to just live our lives walking as it. And that you don't have to go into meditation to think about that. So
it's, again, coming to me, walking as it. What does that really mean? How many people can look back at their own lives or see other people in their lives? I guess I hate to use the word idolizing. Children oftentimes look at sports figures and tend to emulate them in their life. Not a bad thing, just a thing. How many older people look up to pop stars, rock stars, try to emulate their lives in that way? How many people, you know, in the workforce, you know, look at very successful, wealthy people and try to live their lives that way? There are so many books written by actors, written by very wealthy, successful entrepreneurs, and they're telling their story. And why? Because there's a wealth of people that want to read those books. For what reason? To learn something that they could bring into their life to where they can walk as that person, because there's something in that person they want to be. So I think to really kind of hone in on what walking as it means, again, going back to that plan, having a plan of action or something and a picture of what we're trying to become helps us to walk as it, because we have something to compare against. And I've said it many times, and I'm trying to get to the point of doing it, but I want to start getting books about yogis, masters, magi, and learning about them, because ultimately that's where I want to go. I want to be that super calm Zen dude who is just in love with life. You know, like I've said in a different video, I would love to have met Wayne Dyer. Something about what he became in his later years of life. Earlier this morning, I watched a video and he was talking about the AM and the PM of our lives. And it's like the AM, it's all ego. It's all ego-driven, performance, trying to do these things. But then in the PM of our life, the afternoon or evening of our life, we become more spiritual. And that was truly the case for Wayne Dyer. And I just love who he became. And it's just this calmness, this knowingness that was developed in him through the universe's guidance, this ability to just be, be present, love the moment. And miracles were happening for him without him even trying. And that's ultimately where I think we both want to get to, is that state of being.
And I think being is another important thing to
Being
note.
present.
Being present. And during your day is the same thing about being compassionate and having a goal like, I want to be successful, I want to be happy, but being present instead of like, oh, I can't wait till the day's over so I can go and do this. Or, oh man, last week was so great because I was on vacation. You're not looking at right now. And some of you may say, well, right now I'm at work and I hate work. Well, change your state of mind and be like, I'm here. I have a job because, well, some people will be like, some people don't have a job. I have a job. I have money coming in to put food on the table, And you need to reflect on what's good in your life instead of reflecting on what's bad currently. That's not being present because you're being negative, and looking on how things were, either whether they were good or bad, or how you wish things were. So being is another really important thing. So,
and part of that is your self-talk. What are you telling yourself every day, every moment? Just being aware of your self-talk. When you fall from grace, when you have a slip of your state of being that's different than what you're trying to be, what is your self-talk like in that moment?
Yeah.
Can you tell yourself it's okay and get back on track? I mentioned in a previous video where I had a situation where I felt myself slipping. It was kind of a surreal moment where I felt myself slipping. And I had a moment where I could have self-talk with myself and say, Kyle, do you want to be there? Or do you want to go back to where you were?
Yeah.
Your other state of being.
Yeah, you reflect on what went wrong when you fell from grace. And well, I don't want to be that person. Why was I that angry person just a minute ago? That's not very pretty. And you can think about what your trigger was. Was it that a lot of times we blame that person or that situation on the way we felt. But okay, yeah, things are going to happen and you can react completely different to them. So being aware, I guess, be aware, be compassionate, and be.
Just be.
Just be.
Why? Because. You want to wrap it up this time?
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. It's so funny. This morning I watched this video and the guy says, he says they're talking about emotions, and he said, the thing that I'm most self-conscious of is ending my videos. And he said, and then he ended his video and then he just stared at the camera and then he's like, so there we go. That's how I'm going to end this video, because I have that same problem. I feel like I have to say this stuff and it has to sound like this great, wonderful wrap up of what I just talked about. But I just need to be, and so I'm just going to be and acknowledge you for being you.
And I'm just going to be.
Was that cheesy? That was cheesy.
No.
See, I can't wrap up videos good. I sound so cheesy. Bye, sayonara, namaste, I love you.
I'm going to wrap this one up by saying, I'm just being, and I'm looking at you and thinking how beautiful you are, and I love you.
Thank you.